Welcome back to Tradalysis. It's time to analyze our trades for the 15th of July 2020, which was a Wednesday. And the three stocks which we traded today were Tata Steel, Hindalco, and Indusind Bank. Now let's just start straight away with Tata Steel. Tata Steel was bullish from the morning. It gapped up and formed two bullish candles, formed a good opening range with a good support of the Supertrend, and it was above the daily pivot point, as you can see this blue line here, and it crossed the two resistance lines for the day within the opening range, and it broke out the opening range at 925, and I got an entry at 343.85 somewhere right here. And although um, it went up quite a bit, but it started consolidating, and it didn't go as expected. Now you might say that I could have exited here, but it sounds easy in the hindsight. But since there was no resistance and it was not my plan to just exit, I waited for some time so that it could, continue its move after this move. But volume started dying out, and there was not much action left. The VWAP almost flattened at this point, and I saw some rising volumes on the downside somewhere right here. So I decided to exit this trade as this low was broken, and I exited at 1020 at the price of 343.75 at the low of this candle. I did this because, as you know, there was no resistance. Although there was no resistance, but I did this on ground of these rising volume bars, which you can see on the downside. So I didn't want to take a risk. Although I had to book, I think I had to book a little loss on this trade, 10 paisa loss, but it was worth it because if I had hold it any longer, I would have definitely, you know the worst could have been this. Uh, the trailing stop loss would have hit at this price 342.95 something. So it was very better that I exited it here. So this was an okay trade. The next trade was Hindalco. Now in this Hindalco, the first two candles were bearish with good volumes, but the super trend was green, so I was looking for bullish trades. Although the range was not broken to the downside on the third candle at 925, I got a breakout at the price of 166.6. I got filled at zero point 0.6, and from there it rallied quite a bit with good volumes, and these three straight candles were good. After that, this pullback was on backing of low volume and didn't break this low. Now you see that this blue line which you can see here is a pivot point, a daily pivot point, and I would have exited this trade if the low of this candle was broken, which had just touched this blue line. But it didn't break this, so it rallied up, and again on this candle it touched again. Now this time, if the low of this candle was broken, I would have exited, which is a little higher than the previous low. Although I was trailing my stop loss here, but I would have closed my position if this low was broken. Again, this candle formed and touched the pivot point, took resistance. So you can see that it was forming a resistance zone here on this pivot point. After this, it broke out. It looked like it was going up with good volumes, but it just plunged back down, forming a big wick towards which is a bearish sign. Although there was no body, and I was waiting for the next candle to break this low, and it did so in the next candle, and I exited at 167.35. I got an exit somewhere here. So yeah, that was pretty much it of the for this trade. If I had waited any longer, maybe again I would have just seen it go till here and then it come back down. So this was a good exit point for this trade. So this was a profitable and a good trade. which was according to plan. The last trade was Indusind Bank. Indusind Bank, I got an entry after 5 minutes of these two stocks. So at 9:30, as you can see here, I got an entry at 521.95, uh, somewhere right here, and it was a bullish trade since there was a gap up. Supertrend was green. There was good volumes on the upside, so this was a hopefully good trade. It rallied up, and as it started going up, it was picking up with good volumes. This candle, which was the high point, which made the high of the day, was on good volumes, but after this pullback, this pullback was on uh, low volumes and diminishing volumes. But still, I held through this pullback and I saw this rally up again. And this time, I saw this big volume spike on this red candle, and so I decided to exit this trade. Although this had not touched this blue line, which is the pivot point, I still decided to exit this trade, and it was a good call because I exited at the high of the day, which was quite lucky. I don't think there was any technical analysis. These technical analysis doesn't actually work every time, but this time I got lucky, I guess, and it plunged down quite a bit. The worst thing that could have happened was I could have exited on the super trend. So this volume actually on all these three trades, volume